A historic day or a dark day at the state capitol, depending on your perspective. Governor Doug Ducey signing several controversial bills into law. It includes abortion restrictions, proof of citizenship for voters, LGBTQ plus issues, and COVID. We have team coverage breaking down the key parts of these bills.
So let's begin with our political reporter, Mark Phillips. He was at an event with the governor where the bills were signed.
Seconds after delivering a speech before the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations, Governor Ducey defended the signing of 4 bills, which placed new restrictions on members of the LGBTQ plus community, women who seek an abortion, and requires every Arizonan to provide proof of citizenship in order to vote.
I'm talking about protecting female sports, protecting children, protecting lives, and protecting voters. That's what we did this morning. You guys may not think so, but I think the people of Arizona will think so.
The bills the governor signed include prohibiting parents from deciding if their children can have gender-altering surgery, as well as prohibit transgender girls and women from competing in girls' sports or college intramurals. Bills signed despite the strong objection of Phoenix Pride and other LGBTQ groups.
The bill on sports is about fairness. It's about fairness, pure and simple, and it's also about protecting girls' sports and protecting female sports.
In Arizona, 16 high school transgender girls made requests to compete in girls' sports, including 8 this year. The AIA allowed 7 of those athletes to compete, but now says it will follow the new law.
I'm pro-life, and I'm going to sign pro-life legislation.
The new Arizona abortion law the governor signed mimics the Mississippi law the U.S. Supreme Court is considering. It outlaws all abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy, except in the case of medical emergencies. And it makes it a felony for doctors to perform abortions in violation of the law. Mark Phillips, ABC 15, Arizona.
We're getting reaction on all sides of these controversial bills that will now require proof of citizenship in order to vote. Our data analyst, Garrett Archer, here now with more on that.
Why sign a bill you know is unconstitutional?
Well, one, it's not unconstitutional. It's going to be the law of the land in 90 days. And I believe that voter ID is step one of being able to vote, and proof of citizenship along with that. This bill ensures that.
Governor Ducey staunchly defending a new voter ID law requiring proof of citizenship. Arizona is one of the few states that already requires documented proof of citizenship to register to vote. The vast majority of Arizonans do this using their driver's license. But a 2013 Supreme Court case made it so that Arizona must allow people to register to vote with the federal form, which only requires a voter to attest that they are a citizen by signing it. The state accommodates this court decision with a category of voter called federal only. It's a small group of people, fewer than 12,000 statewide, and these voters are legally registered to vote but can only vote for president, the U.S. House, and the U.S. Senate. With Doug Ducey's signature now on HB 2492, federal-only voters will now be prohibited from voting early, through the mail, or for the state's presidential electors unless they show proof of citizenship. Alexander Collin is an attorney and a Republican candidate for State House who supports the bill and would like to see the governor's signature on more election integrity bills, despite a lack of any evidence so far of any voter fraud.
You're simply going to have an additional means for state officials to ensure that what's both federal and state law is actually enforced, which is you have to be a citizen to vote. That's common sense.
Now, Gina Roberts is the voter education director for Arizona's Clean Election Commission. They took the rare step of sending a letter to the governor opposing HB 2492. She brought up the law's residency requirements, which could impact the state's growing homeless population.
Those voters who are homeless or who just don't have a permanent residence, they're eligible to register to vote, but now they would have to provide proof of their location.
The new law also makes it easier to prosecute non-citizens who attempt to register to vote. The expectation from across the political spectrum is that a lawsuit will be filed, and supporters of the new law believe a now more conservative Supreme Court will side with their belief that a state should be allowed to ask voters to prove citizenship, while opponents believe it is just one more step in the march of voter suppression. I'm Garrett Archer, ABC 15, Arizona.